Alrighty. All right. So as we were saying, Kate, together, we have seen a pullback definitely on NFT volume over here. So if we have a look at OpenSea's daily volume, um, let's just do it here rather. We got 12 million yesterday, Blur 12 million, X2Y2 1.5 million, CryptoPunks 1.25 million, Immutable X 1 million, and Looks Rare 370K. If you add that all together, you get just under 30 million. It's going to be interesting what happens to Blur's volume, because on the 14th of February, they've got this whole token drop. And a lot of the trading that's going through Blur, I think, is for guys who are trying to get the token. So it's going to be very interesting next week after they've done that drop to see where Blur is, because they've been level with OpenSea pretty much for the last month, almost every day, sometimes beating them a bit, sometimes a bit under them. If we have a look over here at the markets, here you can see they have recovered slightly from when I was looking a bit earlier. But if we have a look here, like tech side of things is down across the board. On average, I would say probably about 0.75%. Finance is looking pretty neutral. Retail trade, Amazon down about 1%, but Walmart up about 1%. Energy looking quite strong, but consumer services, commercial services, and consumer durables all down. Manufacturing looking good, health technology actually looking really good, and electronics looking very, very down. We've got Nvidia down 6% almost. If we have a look over here, you can see that Bitcoin has fallen 2.5% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum has fallen 2.5% in the last 24 hours, $1,540. Bitcoin sitting at $21,790. Solana at $20, just under $21 over there. So we've definitely seen, as we were saying, this pullback. Do have random alts pumping. Anything to do with AI at the moment seems to be pumping, which is quite interesting. And I think, we got to say, why is this happening? So the biggest catalyst is that we had Kraken, an exchange, shutting down staking. So Kraken basically has been in talks with the SEC. They were being investigated, and they've officially now settled with the SEC. And you can see almost directly in response to that, ETH automatically moved from $1,626 to $1,572 when that happened. Mm-hmm. And the big thing was because Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong tweeted that we're hearing rumors that the SEC would like to get rid of crypto staking in the US for retail customers. So basically the retail investors who really have a lot of money and are able to drive markets could possibly not be allowed to invest in any coin which has staking as a part of it, which is quite a lot of them. So this is something that we need to continue watching. Obviously, it's not yet official, but usually with this sort of stuff, where there's smoke, there is fire. And when you start to hear rumblings from big people and reputable people like Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, together with the news that Kraken has agreed to settle with the SEC, and part of that settlement was that they shut down their staking, then you can put two and two together and say that that's probably what's going to end up happening.
Damn, dude. Well, okay, so first off, ETH did not crash that hard. So one, that's cool because it's interesting. Yes, like a lot of retail has gotten in very recently in the last couple months, but there are so many crypto hard believers that are here right now. So it's interesting that news didn't crash way harder than if it was a
it's not official news, right? If the news was the SEC coming out saying that, I think you would see, even now, you would see a massive crash. At the moment, it's Coinbase CEO saying that he thinks that this might happen, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just with any kind of centralized entity, when any kind of news like this comes out, I feel like a lot of people have just kind of run for the hills the second it comes out, just because of what happened with FTX and Celsius and all these other companies. What are your thoughts on the whole thing? The weird thing for me was this story with the Coinbase CEO coming out and saying, I heard some stuff. It's like, well, what? What do you mean you heard some stuff? Like, it's not even legal for you to say like that? Like, you know what I mean?
It's possible, like if I think about any industry, like if you think of us as YouTubers or whatever you want to call us in the NFT space, we all sort of talk to each other. So, like for example, if Kraken CEO spoke to Coinbase CEO and said, "Look, we've settled with the SEC, but Kraken guy saying my feeling is that the SEC is going to end up banning this," that could be what he means. So he can't maybe say his source, but I doubt he would have tweeted about it unless his source was a very, very reputable one. I don't think he would have tweeted about it, but I think he can't divulge his source. So I do think that where there's smoke, there's potential fire. We do know that that the SEC has been on edge since FTX. And obviously we had Three Arrows, we had Luna. I'm not going to rattle them off, but a lot before that, and they now have mud on their face because guys are saying, "Hold on, where is the SEC in all of this?
Yeah.
Why has this been allowed to happen?" So they're definitely going to want to make some very big moves. Whether they're able to or not is another story. So let's just say, I don't know how the laws work there in the States, but let's just say the SEC says we now are not allowing retail investors to invest in crypto, which is staked. Can someone take them to court? I mean, can companies take them to court and query that and say that's illegal?
Yeah.
Because that's what would happen here if something crazy like that happens. Yeah, and I think any country with a good judicial system, they'll be taken to court, and they might have to put that on hold, the fact that they're banning it until the court case is heard and finalized. So I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but everyone's got PSD, right? Post-traumatic stress, PTS. From what went on with FTX, Luna, and all the rest of that, and you can't blame us. Anyone in the space, just over a year ago, we were looking at Bitcoin at 60,000, and Ethereum at 4,000. So we've been through proper trauma in this place. So yeah, at any sign of any problem, you do see that people are like scared as hell, and that's what's making the market so volatile. And it's not just the crypto markets, but we're seeing that with the stock exchange as well. Everyone, because the stock exchange is the same thing. It went down almost 50% last year, right?
Yeah.
So guys are scared, and guys are scared that it's going to happen again. But what's interesting, speaking about the crypto stuff, and this is really, really something that I'm excited to discuss with you, Cade. These Bitcoin NFTs are really, really interesting. And I want to just give a bit of a brief outline for anyone that doesn't know what they are, because they knew. And I think a lot of people are sort of hearing about it, but don't really know what it is. So I want to really just give a good explanation here and then discuss it and see what we feel about it. But basically, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It's the largest cryptocurrency with the largest market capital. And until now, it's been very hard to have NFTs on the Bitcoin ecosystem, because unlike Ethereum, which has layer ones and layer twos, here Bitcoin is not the same. So when you look at Ethereum NFTs as an example, an Ethereum NFT is one that's not actually like immutable on the blockchain like Ethereum, right? It's not a part of Ethereum itself. It's not a part, you use Ethereum to buy it, but it's not a part of Ethereum. What these ordinal NFTs are, is they are NFTs that are literally attached to 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin. So when you get that NFT, when you get it sent to you, you are actually getting a small amount of Bitcoin also, because every single tiny bit of Bitcoin, fraction of a Bitcoin, has got its own unique serial number. And the way that they're doing these NFTs is that they're able to attach an NFT to that address of that tiny piece of Bitcoin. So it is literally a piece of Bitcoin. It's literally Bitcoin with an image or whatever it may be on top of it. Now, there's definitely benefits to that, and there's also negatives to that. The benefit to that is that it is truly going to be there forever. So a lot of Ethereum NFTs are on a server, bro. And yes, the smart contract, which is a layer on the Ethereum blockchain, a layer, not the Ethereum itself. The smart contract assigns metadata to it and assigns it an address, but that is not properly on the blockchain. Whereas here, these Bitcoin ones they are forever on the blockchain, because they are literally a tiny piece of Bitcoin with something stuck on top of it. So that's the positive. The negative side to it, and there's a lot more positive. The other positive thing is you've got a whole market of very rich people who own Bitcoin, who would love NFTs, but are Bitcoin maxis and don't like any other ecosystem, which we all understand. We all have our favorite ecosystem. And now that there's NFTs on Bitcoin, they might be more than happy to jump into it because that's familiar to them. So it opens it up to a whole new market that maybe otherwise wouldn't do it. The negatives are quite extreme at this point because it's very new technology. The first negative to it is, unlike with Ethereum NFTs, where the user who purchases an NFT actually pays to mint the NFT. So the project founder's got a smart contract which sets up the rules for minting, but it's actually the minters, the customers who mint that NFT, who end up bringing it to life. They swap some Ethereum, and in turn for that, literally, this is written, and they now have an NFT. With Bitcoin NFTs, it works completely the opposite way around. Because it's literally attached to a specific hash, a serial number, the creator has to mint the NFTs. So let's say he wants to do a collection of 100. He has to stick 100 little NFTs on top of literal tiny amounts of Bitcoin on specific serials on the blockchain, which can be a little bit costly. And then there is at the moment no way to actually trade it effectively. So right now, if you wanted to not mint, but get a Bitcoin NFT, you would need a node. You would need your own. You need it would probably take you 10 to 12 hours to set it up, and it's all really, really hard to do. There's also no marketplace. So you would literally have to trust someone that they are going to send you what you're asking for, almost like an over-the-counter deal. You'll have to trust them that they're going to do it. You will pay them, and you hope that they're also going to get their serial number right, because they might send you the wrong one that doesn't have an NFT on it, even if they have good intentions. And once you have that Bitcoin NFT, you might buy, because it just shows as Bitcoin in your wallet, you might by mistake send that to someone as Bitcoin and forget that it's got an NFT attached to it and end up sending them the NFT. So on top of that, because it's literally a part of Bitcoin, and on top of Bitcoin, there's no metadata, because the metadata is really pulled through from a smart contract. So metadata is the thing that tells you the traits and how rare it is. So 100 of these NFTs all have hats, but only one of them have glasses. That makes the glasses a rare trait. That's something that's really cool on Ethereum NFTs. Here on Bitcoin NFTs, you can't do that. There's no way, because there's no smart contract under it. There's no layer under it. It is literally Bitcoin. Now, with all of that said, I don't think any of this is insurmountable. I've no doubt that there's people, very bright companies working on a Bitcoin wallet at the moment, and a Bitcoin NFT marketplace at the moment. And if you are willing to put the time in the beginning now, you could really make a lot of money, because you'd be very, very early to something, right, that is brand new. You would get to know something that very few people can do, because it's very difficult to actually do this at this point, to make a collection and attach it to specific Bitcoin serials and things like that. So you would really be a first mover, and have a really good opportunity to be able to do some amazing things on it. So yeah, I find it very, very exciting. I really do. And I think that it's got a huge, huge potential. But we are super early. There's no way to trade easily with this.
Isn't that weird thinking about that? Guys, for the first time that you've been in NFTs, since you got into NFTs were the thing that were early. This is the first thing that isn't NFTs that people have all found and all started talking about for multiple hours now, actually a couple days. And it's still early because it's literally just so much damn work to figure it out. And the fact that there's no marketplace. If there's a marketplace, people would already be trading these all over the board, but there's so few players that if you do end up deciding to move forward with this and figure out the fucking node, I'm not going to, I literally just don't have the time to do it. If I was a straight up degen though, I would, because there's so many opportunities. The riskiest thing for me is definitely the Discord trading though. I do not like that.
Yes,
it's not it's not a real escrow that we have yet. You can just leave your money in, and unless you have a friend, then you know them personally and you actually know them. God, that's scary, man. That is scary, not trading on a marketplace.
Yeah, 100%. And I see Crypto Dream's got a very interesting question here. He says, "So how's a Crypto Dream? You were late, but so was I. So
Yeah.
we equal. Does that mean that there's a limitation on how many NFT Bitcoins you can have? No, there's no limitation on it. If you want to drop a contract, let's just say, not a contract, a collection of 100,000 NFTs, as long as you are willing to put the work in, because that's hard to do, and pay the gas and the transaction fees, you could make a collection size as big as you want. But that's a massive investment. So typically you're going to see much smaller collection sizes, especially now when it's so much, it's so hard to do and will take so much time to do. You're typically at the moment seeing one of ones and small collection sizes, which I actually like, because it means the project has to invest upfront and mint those NFTs, pay the transaction fees, put the money into the technology that's needed, to be able to do it yourself, which is almost like small Bitcoin mining equipment that you need. So there's a big investment, which means anyone who does it is quite serious. I think there's a huge opportunity for notable people in the space and notable collections in the space to launch a very limited edition Bitcoin version of their NFT, which they could sell at probably quite a high price.
Wait, do you know
And
what's
that will
happening right
also help you go around the over-the-counter thing, because you trust, let's just say, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and if they are the ones handling it and sending it to you in their Discord, so I think there's a huge opportunity for projects at the moment to take advantage of this.
Yo, bring us to full screen real quick. Let me show you something. I just saw this. I'll just read it. Actually, that's stupid. I don't know why. Okay, sorry. So this came from Nick from the NFT show. All right. So this is from NFT Nick. So people are, and I'm quoting here. So people are paying for. Let me get a little restart. Here we go. So people are paying more for Bitcoin CryptoPunks than the originals. There are so many questions. The two main ones: does Yuga have to take legal action? Does provenance even matter? That's a fucking interesting question right there, dude. People are paying more for Bitcoin punks than the original. I mean, of course he said that because he has a punk, but like, wow, that's nuts, dude. That's actually nuts.
So Bitcoin punks are in no way related to CryptoPunks. I know you know that. I'm just telling the viewers, and that's why Nick is saying, will Yuga take action? It's going to be interesting to see whether Yuga has a case or not against them, because it's not on the same blockchain. So, and we're going to actually talk about the Ryder Rips thing because that's a separate story. But it will be interesting to see if they do have the rights to it. I think the fact that these guys called it CryptoPunks on Bitcoin is just silly, because that name is trademarked, and there could definitely be potential there for there to be legal issues. So I think it would have been so much better if they did their own thing, maybe just like completely their own thing, or even called it like Lunks or Stunks or Bunks or whatever, just to avoid that, because there is that risk. But remember, this is now the first Bitcoin NFT. Bitcoin has got a market cap of whatever, 10 times, 15 times Ethereum, right? So in theory, if a CryptoPunk on Ethereum could be worth $70,000 to $200,000, then in theory on Bitcoin it could be worth 10 times more than that, because the blockchain is effectively 10 times more than that. Now, I don't know if it's 10 times, it might be 5 times, whatever it is. So I think that's the speculation that's going on with the Bitcoin guys. Also, Bitcoin guys have got access to a lot more money in general.
Yes.
Like they are billionaires, but like with a B. I think there are probably one or two multiple billionaires, like 10 billion, 20 billionaires, who have got a large amount in Bitcoin, are not interested in anything except for Bitcoin, your Bitcoin maxis, who now want to get into this NFT thing that they've been hearing about. So it's very interesting. It's really, really incredibly interesting.
Yeah, I like the idea of the Bitcoin. I just don't know the longevity of it, and the only thing that the highest risk for me for the longevity of this is how degenerate it gets and how quick it gets. If it turns into a straight up degen fest where Bitcoin almost like loses respect in that sense, like the culture around Bitcoin, the Bitcoin people get pissed, and it turns into a little bit of a blood war between people who just want money, which is everyone. Like people like to say ETH people, Solana people, ADA people. I'm like, nah, dude. Everyone here just wants to get rich. That's the only thing that's keeping us all here. People go to Ethereum because they want more money. People go to Solana because they want quicker money. And so that's just how it is. And with Bitcoin, it's no different. I mean, yes, there are people who are Bitcoin maxis, But if there's opportunities in Bitcoin land, it does not matter if you're ETH or Solana, like they're going to run over there. And so that little mix of people who are Bitcoiners who are like, nah, dude, Bitcoin, like no utility, like gold, and like people who are just thinking about that and they don't want it to build on it. They don't want any opportunities for people to build on it, which is literally what NFTs are, an opportunity to build IP on something that's already there. A lot of people are not fans of that. I think where there is opportunity or innovation will come in the same way that if life can happen, it will. If life can survive, it will try. I think it's the same with innovation and human beings. If Bitcoin can be built upon, I think it will be. I just don't know how legit it will be. Like I hope it doesn't compromise like the integrity of Bitcoin kind of thing.
No, I can't. That's already put in there. I mean, the really amazing thing here is that in theory, if one could choose to have an asset, forget NFT, because if you say a CryptoPunk, what comes into it? Well, the originals are Ethereum ones. So let's just say any asset on a layer 2 on Ethereum versus literally on a piece of Bitcoin as a currency, there's more value to have it in the blockchain as a part of the currency instead of as a layer 2. And there's very few projects, very few. There are some. There's very few projects where the Ethereum projects, where the NFTs are actually on the actual blockchain. They're on a server somewhere. The smart contract points it to that server, which means in 100 years, 1,000 years, who knows, your image might still be there or it might not. However, with it being attached literally to the Bitcoin hash, that address for that tiny piece of Bitcoin, you are guaranteed that is there forever.
And I was going to add into that, like, so one of the main reasons I never dropped the collection last year, A, I was scared. B, I didn't want to. Like, I just didn't. I like being a YouTuber. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be a project founder. That wasn't my goal, but I was scared, part of it. And the reason I was scared is because I knew how early we were. Objectively, I knew how early we were. Because we were so early, I didn't know what was to come. And I didn't like the idea that I was going to drop something permanent on the blockchain where there wouldn't be an opportunity to save it, potentially if there was something that went wrong. So that's why I was like, okay, I like these small collections. I can keep everything manual. I can get everyone's Discord manually, like one at a time, because there's literally 30 people in that Discord. And I can have all that. I can have all the autonomy to do what I want and all the control when it's still small. And I didn't want to drop a project until there's a little bit more safety in that sense. And I was able to secure these things. And those kind of things scare me because as we learn more, we go, oh, wait, it's not quite that. Oh, wait, you can't enforce royalties, actually. Oh, wait. So you can't do this, you can't do that. And now people are freaking out because he's got these collections of 10,000 people, some of which were successful, with thousands of people that are depending on you now, that if you make a misstep, it goes wrong, or you do something and now it's permanent on the blockchain. It's a huge risk to do, especially if you haven't built that IP and brand yet, which is why I think it is important to build that brand. If you're a content creator or brand right now and you haven't started brand building because you haven't dropped your project yet, or it's not marketing time yet, like, nah, fam, build the IP now. Because there will be mistakes inevitably. There will be things that happen, like when DeGods and them bridged over to ETH. There was a lot of people that were not happy about that. It's fine now, but like those kind of things, like we never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting what Nick's saying. I mean, I would also be like, what the hell if I've got the original Ethereum CryptoPunk, and now it's on Bitcoin. It's quite difficult. The interesting thing is, let's just say that they're not allowed to do it. It's an infringement of Yuga, and let's just say that Yuga sues them. I actually don't know if they are able to reverse it, because I think it is truly immutable now on the Bitcoin blockchain. I don't think it's the same as the Ethereum blockchain. I know it's not the same, but I'm saying I don't think they can actually burn it. Whereas on Ethereum, you can, send it to a burn address or whatever. I don't know yet. I don't think you can. I think it's there forever. Maybe it all will have to be sent to one centralized wallet that gets on a ledger, gets put away. But if someone said to you, "Oh, you've got to send your CryptoPunk to me because there's a court case," screw you. You don't know who I am. I've got this Bitcoin in my wallet that's got a CryptoPunk on it. I'm not sending it anywhere, and that might make it even more valuable because some people might send it and then there's less supply. So it's a different ball game altogether, and it's going to be really, really interesting.
Damn, dude. God, just imagine buying a CryptoPunk on ETH and then someone just buying a Bitcoin ordinal, paying more for it. Now your CryptoPunks are at
And it's worth more because it's actually got a piece of Bitcoin attached to it. It's I think it's 1/100 millionth or something like that. The smallest amount that gets its own serial number, because every single tiny piece of Bitcoin or fraction has its own unique serial number. Yeah. So, and that's how it's stored. Otherwise, how do you ever track it? And that's why you can always see where it's moving. Every tiny amount, the smallest amount you can send, and you can send 0.00000 or 1 Bitcoin, and that's what you have to do. Yeah. But that particular Bitcoin through the nodes has now got this image of this CryptoPunk on it. So that's so interesting.
It is really interesting. Anthony Lewis, I saw your comment there. He says Bitcoin NFTs will become even more valuable because we'll only ever have 21 million coins ever, and will become rare over time. 90% of NFTs on ETH will go to zero. So kind of with my thinking, and I read Crypto Dream's comment right above it. He said he liked the way I worded what I said a second ago, with the fact that everything's permanently on the blockchain. If you make a mistake or a misstep, you got to fix it now. And with a big collection, that's very risky, right? The thing is, yes, like, the concept of like 90% of ETH NFTs will go to zero, I don't really agree with. And I think I know what he's saying, but the way that's worded is weird to me, because I'm like, well, if 90% of ETH NFTs would go to zero, we would just bounce over to whatever would make it not go to zero. Like, they would just have to move. And the ones that built the IP strong enough.
But he means exactly what Gary Vee says. Like, 90% of the collections that were launched in the bull market a year ago have pretty much gone to zero. I mean, it's already happened.
And so the chances of the Bitcoin NFTs sticking around because they are not infinite and I don't know. I don't know if for example, if we left all the Bitcoin NFTs, like today, NFTs human beings disappeared, or not human beings. If how do I say this? Like, if we were to fast forward a year and and we just compare the Bitcoin in the ETH NFTs, I think. Actually, I don't have a fucking, no, I don't have one. I have no idea. I literally have no idea.
It's freaking interesting. It really is. So this CryptoPunk one, sorry, Kate, this CryptoPunk one is really, really interesting. So obviously not endorsed by Yuga Labs, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens legally there. And even if after a long court battle it's found in the favor of Yuga Labs, are they going to be able to act the way the court says and in any way get these off? I don't think they can. Right, so it's now available thanks to the Ordinals project, right? This project works by adding metadata to the Satoshis themselves, which is exactly what we were saying. Satoshis are just a small unit of Bitcoin, and that which creates the unique identifier for each Satoshi, resulting in them being non-fungible and trackable, similar to an NFT. The ability to do this was made possible by 2 updates to the Bitcoin network, SegWit in 2017 and then Taproot in 2021. So now the full collection of CryptoPunks can be minted right on the Bitcoin exchange, but it requires running a full node of the network to validate transactions. The project defines itself as the first 10,000 collection on Bitcoin. While the artwork has been pre-registered on the blockchain, which is what we were saying, they actually had to mint the 10,000 in order to do it. The Satoshis have not yet been tied to them. Anyone interested in minting a CryptoPunk on the Bitcoin blockchain can do so by inscribing a Satoshi with the artwork. Internet researcher who focuses on NFTs explains that the process is an interesting new model for enrollment. And look, I mean, they currently valued at the same as normal CryptoPunks, which is what? 70 ETH at the moment or something like that. So $100,000. So look, if you're willing to invest in a node, which is probably a couple of grand in dollars, and spend a good 2 or 3 days figuring everything out, your return on your investment, you can still mint one, is going to be huge. By the time you figure it out and mint one, are there going to be any left? I don't know. And obviously this is not financial advice, but they are currently selling for the same as a normal CryptoPunk, $100,000. And it will take you a couple of days and a couple of grand to get yourself one as things stand now. So that's interesting, Kate. That's really interesting. It's making me think maybe I need to call in sick and get a node and start minting a couple of CryptoPunks, bro.
I know.
And flipping them. I get $100,000 a pop, each one.
How much does it cost to mint?
Well, you need to get a node, bro, which proper like machine and whatever. So a couple of grand, I would imagine that is, and some time. But then you have to find buyers, and remember, there's no like marketplace.
By that time, people might not give a shit, so it's really difficult. But I also see Crypto Dreams here. He said, what would you do with the CryptoPunk on the other chain? Like, why would you do that? Possibly permanently on Bitcoin too. Like every single chain has their version of punks and apes. Like Elron has the Elron apes, Elron punks. I have an Elron punk. Just because
Solana's got DeGods, or had DeGods.
So with Bitcoin,
exactly. So why
a little bit more
call it? But I'm saying, why call it? I agree with the Crypto Dream. Why call it CryptoPunks? Why not do completely different artwork and launch the first 10,000 collection on Bitcoin? That's freaking pictures of snakes. Who cares?
There's something I said on the stream yesterday that I thought was interesting. Like, what if so it was because Gary V popped up for some reason, and I was like, dude, what if Gary V never pumped punks in the beginning and instead pumped, like, I don't know, frogs, or like I don't know, like a rock or something that wasn't a PFP, something that wasn't an avatar. Like, could you imagine like how different the NFT space would be if he didn't pump avatars specifically? I was like, oh my god, could you imagine we were all rocking like rocks or mat or moss or like fucking leaf blades?
But the interesting thing about these CryptoPunks is, as of yesterday, there were only 1,100 of the 10,000 minted.
Yeah,
which means that if you know how to do all of this, right, there is definitely a massive opportunity here. And look, I think NFTs on Bitcoin are incredibly interesting, seem to have a higher collectability from the perspective that there's a limited supply, like Anthony was saying, and that they are literally ingrained on the Satoshi, on the transaction of the Bitcoin itself. I think it has a greater future. However, there's a lot of tools like marketplaces and ability to somehow have metadata and things like that, which are going to be very, very challenging, and a proper wallet to be able to see it in and know which one of your Bitcoin or which one of your Satoshi actually has the NFT on it. But I mean, assuming they sort all of that out, which you have to assume they will. And when I say they, I mean the developers out there, just normal devs and people who see this as a massive opportunity, which it is. If tomorrow there was an equivalent of an OpenSea with Bitcoin NFTs on it that could be easily transacted the way we can with Ethereum NFTs, I would rather have a Bitcoin NFT than an ETH NFT.
Damn, yo! Oh man, I thought I had one of those buttons for like the blah 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 blah.
That's how's that? And I mean it.
You mean that?
I mean it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
because of the way it is.
I want to give you a punk that you can't sell for a year. You have to pick one though. Do you want Nick's CryptoPunk from ETH, or do you want his counterpart on Bitcoin? You would choose the Bitcoin.
That's a great question. No. Hold on. I'm not saying no or yes. That's a great question because there's a lot more factors inside of there. Are they going to be able to solve these problems? Is there going to be marketplaces? Is it going to be able to have metadata and be displayed as a collection? I don't know that that's possible, the metadata side, because you need a smart contracts in that, and Bitcoin does not allow for that layer 2 the way that ETH does. So you're taking a big gamble now, saying send me a Bitcoin punk instead of an Ethereum one. The Ethereum punk we know will be worth something in a year's time.
Maybe.
The Bitcoin one could be worth 10 times that, or could be worth close to zero, depending on whether they can overcome these challenges. Now, some of them they can. I do think it's very easy to overcome the wallet challenge, for example, to create a wallet that nicely displays it and shows you which one of your Satoshis has an NFT on it. But as I said, the metadata and things like that, I'm not 100% sure. So it's a very difficult question to answer. If I was a complete degenerate gambler, I would say the Bitcoin one. If I was being more conservative and the safer, end of the year value, I would say Ethereum. The more interesting question would be maybe 10 years from now or 100 years from now. I think the longer the time frame goes that I have to hold it, the more bullish I become on the Bitcoin NFT, because then there's been more time to bridge the gap and overcome the challenges. But the fact that this is a thing now and becoming a thing now, I do think that we've got the attention of the guys who are going to make solutions to make it cool. And it's going to be on Bitcoin, a part of the Bitcoin currency, literally a Satoshi itself.
So the thing that Crypto Dream said here, I really don't trust where ETH is going. ETH has become very centralized. He didn't say that, but this is me kind of adding on. ETH has become more and more centralized. People are becoming more and more aware of that, which pushes the narrative of Bitcoin stronger than ETH. But there's so many people so heavily invested in ETH. The real question is, will Bitcoin NFTs become easier? Will there be marketplaces as big? Will OpenSea adopt Bitcoin NFTs? Like if those things start to happen and we start to see a move towards Bitcoin NFTs, then I think we do jump into that, because I think Bitcoin NFTs could be much, much stronger play than ETH NFTs. But it's only if it takes. You know, if we come back in 3 weeks and no one's talking about ordinals anymore.
No. It will take if they can overcome the challenges.
Exactly.
The problem is that you don't have the ability to build on Bitcoin like you do on Ethereum. As far as contracts and layers, that's where there's a real challenge here. And, you know, like how we're sitting here talking, when I could be buying a node and learning how to mine a Satoshi with a CryptoPunk on it, which is guaranteed for now, right this second, to be worth close to $100,000 or more. It's too complicated for me to do. No, I'm sure I could apply my mind to it. It's too much freaking effort, right? Now, if it stays like that forever, then no, it won't take off. It will always be an elite group of people who know how to do this. And who are those same people going to sell it to if there's only 100,000, like 10,000 NFTs and only like 2,000 people actually know how to use a node, right? Or want to use a node.
I just want to know like how they're not minting more. Like I feel like the people who have
it's really difficult. No, it must be there must be a limitation on it. Otherwise, everyone would be minting. Yeah. I don't know that answer for sure, but I'm just assuming there must be either, which I don't know how they would enforce, Kate. You see, they've already minted them in order for them to be there, so they would need to be sending them to you. So they would probably know wallet-wise, or they can track and know. Not 100% sure. It's a good question, but I don't think someone could mint all 10,000. I think they probably thought of that. But it is stupid that they haven't done their own thing yet, that they've called it CryptoPunks. It's stupid. It's stupid. Call it Bitcoin Punks. And have completely different artwork. Who cares? Then you're saying we are the OGs of Bitcoin NFTs. We're the first 10,000 collection on Bitcoin, but you're not opening yourself up to the risk of down the line potential conflict with Yuga, copyright laws, and whatever it might be. You know.
Yeah, that one's tough, dude. Anthony says I'm applying my mind to get a node, get in and out before the trend dies. Damn. Yeah, go for it, Anthony. Good luck.
No, look, serious. I think really. I mean. I'm considering it. I got to do a bit of research. I don't know where to even start, but I think that's absolutely incredible. Let's jump into what's trending at the moment. If we have a look here, what's trending? All right, so if we look in the last 24 hours, a lot of it, most of it, all of it is relatively OG projects, no new mints from the last 7 days is what I mean. So usually if I do see consistently a new mint from the last 7 days that's on this chart for at least 2 or 3 days, then I talk about it. Last week we did talk about a couple of them. There were some good mints this week. We had Rug Radio's PFP, which we discussed last week, but they haven't consistently pumped. They've been going down. I think they're 0.1 now. So as far as trending NFTs go, we've got Other Deed number 1 with a 1.6 ETH floor. We got Pudgy Penguins in the second spot with 5.39 floor. Mutant Ape Yacht Club 15.6 Ethereum. Doodles 5.5. They've been pumping.
Yeah, they have. I don't know about pumping, but they definitely been.
Oh, sorry, not Doodles. Doodles have come down. I was thinking Clone X. I've seen a lot of transaction. So just because they're here. Listen, this is really important. The trending ones sometimes could be crashing and burning, and there's so many people selling that's why it's doing it. So Doodles is down. 5.5 is down. Last week when we spoke about them, they were 6.1, and Clone X is down. Even though they're number 6 on the list, we haven't seen Clone X on the top 10, but they were about 5.2 last week. So people are selling aggressively. But we've still got checks at number 5, that open edition that started this open edition meta. Their floor price is just under 2 Ethereum. We got Digi-Daigaku sitting at 9.55. Obviously, the Super Bowl advert is on the horizon, and that one's interesting. We spoke last week that other interesting mint was the Demons by them, which I think is a good play. With the Super Bowl advert coming up, I think they're pretty much bottomed at around 0.3. Not financial advice, but I did pick one up at 0.3, and I did put in my alpha group that I think it's a good buy, because I do think we see Digi-Daigaku pump with this advert, and I do think that the Demons will pump with them. We've got a kid called Beast continuing to rise, okay, despite all their mistakes, which we know, and all the issues and the hack at the end of people who got hacked. They're sitting at 1.2 Ethereum. They're actually the highest up on the last 24 hours out of everything in the top 10. So they are 14% up in the last 24 hours, whereas the next highest is Moonbirds, which is 3% up. Then we've got Proof at number 9, and Moonbirds. There was a lot of FUD, and again, I think correctly so, with the Proof ecosystem. We've seen a massive drop. I mean, you can now pick up a Proof NFT for 17 Ethereum. A Moonbird used to be 30 Ethereum, and Proof used to be 100. I know the market has changed. However, there's been a massive drop in the last few days, and that's directly a result of our good friend Kevin Rose, who Cade always warned me about and said, who the fuck is Kevin Rose and who cares? Well, this guy came out and said, listen, any utility ends in 2025. They will no longer be delivering anything to the project in 2025. That's when it expires. So he's doing similar to what he did with his Moonbirds, where when you bought them and minted them, the website clearly said that you own the artwork, and all of a sudden, surprise, they now CCO, and every human on the planet owns the artwork now. Well, he's said Proof will be there forever, and now he's come out and said forever is up until 2025. That is when forever is. If you look in the NFT dictionary, forever means up until the end of 2025, according to the Proof ecosystem. And that's why we've seen such a massive dump on Proof, as well as Moonbirds, because it applies to Moonbirds also. So basically, we're going to do a couple of conferences for the next couple of years. We're going to charge you for those conferences, a bit less if you're a holder. But at 2025, it's all over, and I'm going to either lie on a beach or buy my private yacht and whatever. I've had enough. I'm out of here. What do we call a rug, Cade, with a 2-year notice period?
I'd just like to say that I called this. Okay,
we can't see your face. Okay, all right. Let's just remove this guy. If we can't see your face, Cade.
God, bro, what in the hell? I did not hear about the story till you just said it. So, yeah, but dude, that's crazy.
What do you call a rug where they give you 2 years notice? That's what I want to know. I want to make a term. This has never been so. It's we know a fast rug is when they literally, as you mint the collection, they come onto Discord and say, ha, 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 we're running away. A slow rug is they keep playing games in the Discord and make you think that they might do something, but nothing ever happens. Mm-hmm. A notice period, a 2-year notice period rug, I don't know, a probation rug? I mean, what would you call it?
Scammed. That you literally got scammed.
Now, all of them are scams.
It was this, and it's not. It literally isn't. And all you got to show for the entirety of being in the ecosystem is a literal hand. Actually crazy.
You got a money wallet and socks. Let's just call a spade a spade. So we didn't get nothing. Cade, I just need to know. A rug means it's a scam. We got that. We need to come up with a term when you give 2 years notice. We can think about it. We did come up with a term. I mean, what happens when you hand in your notice at work? You say, okay, I'm giving my 1 month's notice. What are you on for that last month?
It's kind of like when you break up with your girl, but you still live together. So you're like, all right, look, we're breaking.
No, it's like saying to your girl, look, I really love you. Like, I love you so much, and we're going to have so much fun. I'm going to give 100% of myself to you. I'm going to be dedicated. In 2 years, I'm leaving you. But for now, I'm completely in love with you, and I'm going to do everything that you want me to do, and we're going to have so much fun, so much so we're going to Italy tomorrow, and it's going to be amazing, and I do love you. Just letting you know that in 2 years' time, I'm not going to love you anymore, and I'm going to be going to Italy by myself. So I just wanted to let you know that for now. That's what's happened here. Not that you've broken up. There's no breakup yet. We are breaking up in 2 years' time. I just wanted to let you know that.
Every time Kevin Rose talks about Moonbirds or Proof, they drop by 20%.
I don't know what the Oak is doing. I mean, we're seeing all these guys who we thought were, and Kate, you did call it, hands down, you called it. But same thing with Ryan Carson, with all the FUD that's going on with Ryan Carson at the moment. I mean, That is crazy, the FUD that's going on with him. I don't think he did anything too wrong with his fund. Remember, he named one or two investors, things weren't signed yet. And who cares? Whatever, made a whole big thing out of it. Who cares? But I mean, this Moonbirds thing is actually hilarious.
So I reached out to Clemente, who is the co-host of the Daily Dose with Ryan Carson, and he actually lives here in my city. So him and I are going to meet up soon. And I definitely want to ask him about these things to do with Moonbirds, because I literally just don't understand it. Because I'm like, you got so much money, it's disgusting. Like, people don't realize how much money Moonbirds ecosystem got. The people who worked and dropped that collection, it is like, it should be illegal how much money they made. They made so much money. They have not done anything with it. They've never like said they would do, like, the whole thing is a conundrum to me, and I don't get it. So I want to talk to him about it. So hopefully we get some content after we meet up or something.
Cool. Let me know. I've got the name. Got the name.
Oh, okay. I've
got the name.
Let's hear it.
Tell me what you think. Notice Rug. We've given you notice.
No, Notice Rug?
Yeah, we've given you notice that we're going to rug you.
Philip, that's a very practical way to describe it, but that is not clickbaity enough.
No, what doesn't it be clickbaity? It's a term. I don't think it's ever going to happen again. So who cares? Because who in their right mind would tell the community that?
You need a word like rug pull. That's a standalone clickbaity word that can work. Notice Rug is like, that sounds like a type of soup or something.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what you would even call this. It's
whoever finds out, whoever gives us a good name, Philip is going to give away his phone X, because he's going to realize that Cade's been right every time, and he doesn't think that Nike might actually make it after all.
Okay, let's just say, can you guys comment and let us know what you think a good name would be? Let's say that.
I'll think about it.
All right.
I don't know.
Let's jump into the news. So having a look here, we had really good sales in the last 7 days. We had both a Bored Ape and a CryptoPunk sell for over $1 million. First time in 2023. So the Bored Ape sold for $1.3 million and the Punk sold for $1.4 million, which is amazing. So yeah, I mean, the Bored Ape Yacht Club that was sold is this one. So I mean, look, it's really got some rare traits: the grill, the gold, all the rest of it. I don't know, $1.3 million, that can buy a lot, guys. That can, I mean, really, really and truly. But there we go. And then the CryptoPunk was an alien one, 1.4 million, this one over here. So those are two massive sales, and the first over 1 million sales the whole year, and both of them occurred in the last week, which is really quite bullish if you think about it.
I'm not a big fan of the alien trait, dude. Do you like the alien trait?
I don't. You know me. I'm not more the pixelated art. I don't like any pixelated art. I don't like any of the punks visually. I like what they stand for. You know, one of the first collections on the blockchain. I like that they're going to be collectible because they do have provenance and history attached to them being so early. I like all of that. But do I like any of the artwork? I've never, and I've looked at a lot. I've never looked at a CryptoPunk and thought to myself, yeah, I'm taking that CryptoPunk over with me. I haven't. But I have Bored Apes. Obviously, there's some Bored Apes where I'm really tempted just visually, you know. But with CryptoPunks, there's no visual appeal to me.
You know, Wolf Boy's phasing happens in an hour, which means, or no, in like 15 minutes, which means all their pixels are going to be not pixels anymore. Art's going to be upgraded.
That's interesting.
Cool. Tell you, man, probably going to pump. Probably going to pump. Not financial guys, but that project is probably going to pump a little bit. I don't know if it's going to pump a lot, but I imagine it would a little bit.
That's good. I always like guys doing different stuff in the space, and I haven't heard of that being done before. I didn't know that was being done, and I think that's pretty cool.
Or sorry, it's on chain, but there's no gas fees. Like, they figured out a way where it's like immediate. You can just like go back and forth on it. It's kind of like the portals of the Krypton Goons, but it's like instant. It's fast, it's cheap, and it's free, which is the coolest thing. It's like basically just alternating between PFPs.
Okay, so you're not really, it's sort of like Doodles did with their spaceships, and a few others have sort of copied after. Okay, I get it. Kate, do you like pixel art? You obviously don't like the alien one, but have you ever looked at a punk and thought that's a really sick punk?
I bought a punk, not a CryptoPunk, but I told you about the Elron punk. I mean,
I know, but I'm saying, but it's also because it's a punk and it looks like a punk. I'm saying, in theory, just the art. Forget everything else. Do you like the look of them?
No, not really, but only for certain traits. I like certain traits on them. Like I love the glasses. So I'll just for context, I'll show you guys.
You like glasses on anything, Kate, because of your glasses.
True.
So you identify with it. But would you rather buy a CryptoPunk that's pixelated, or hypothetically, let's make you bigger, Kate, hypothetically, if there was a CryptoPunk that was like normal, that is cool. That's a lot more detailed than the the OG CryptoPunks, right? Because it's more modern. Yeah, that is pretty cool. I can see that represents you as far as. But Kate, do you prefer crypto artwork or normal artwork? Is the question.
If I had to choose, that's very dependent on the project. But if I had to choose, I'll just go ahead and say not pixel. But there are certain projects where I really fuck with it because pixel's like part of the brand. Like if Cryptodes wasn't pixelated, it'd be weird. I feel like,
Yeah, but they were also one of the first.
So most of the time, non-pixel, but there's sometimes where I like pixel. I mean, I love Wolf Boy because I knew that they were going to move on from pixel from the very beginning.
Listen, I don't know if it's you who's always talking Wolf Boy. Is it you? To me,
probably.
Like on stream,
probably
it's you. I think Morland used to also always say. A lot of people are, and I've except for hearing you guys speak about it, I know fuck all about them. But I know that a lot of people talk about it. But I know nothing about the project and the team.
If you're in, they do a lot of things within Discord. So they just branched into Twitter groups, but they've done most of their stuff in Discord. So if you're a holder and you're actively there, it's a great time. But if you're not,
are you a holder?
I'm a holder. Yeah, I just told them that they need to be better publicly because people don't know that they're cool.
Yeah, I've got no idea, but there's very few projects where I know of because so many people have told me. So what are they on ETH? Obviously.
Yep.
I want to pull it up here.
Yeah, so it's WULF.
Okay, that's also going to be freaking difficult for people to find, but let's go with it. Yeah, Wolf Boy Social Club.
Yep.
Should pop Is that up. It? Let's put it up for everybody.
And let's have a bit of a to 0.05 right now.
Is this right?
That's right. Yep. And they're all unfazed still because it starts soon. They're going to be on Spaces talking about it. I think later on. But yeah, they're going to be. Some of them are phased.
Do you know anything about the team? Like, what do you know about this?
So I know the founders both. I know the community manager I know personally from home. Like he just happened to join the team because he knew Lux. But both of them are entrepreneurs. Both of them have run their own businesses for almost like I think Lux is probably like closer to 10 years than Devin. But Devin ran a very successful company called Artisan Labs where he made these wrist rests. I actually have one, and it's a fucking beautiful piece. And this is his company. He ran this for 2 or 3 years. Very successful. Then the market crashed and everyone stopped buying like luxury items like that. So he stopped. Lux Cables, the founder of Wolf Boy, same shit, but he had cables that were made for like gamers and stuff. He ran that for like a long time. And I believe in them as businessmen and as brand builders because they did both. And I watched them do it on Instagram. Like I literally watched their business.
So the Devin that you mentioned to me on stream sometimes, is that this Devin?
Same one. So he's he's one of those guys that gets lucky a lot. Like he just things work out for him. So with him, when he tells me to do something, I'm always very skeptical. And then 6 months later, he usually is just right. So I'm like, fuck. So I literally eventually I just kind of bought it because I was like, whatever. Like I was just buying to support. I bought like 2. And then as I got in, I was like, wait a second, y'all are doing a lot of things that I like. And they're like, yeah, man, because we saw what it sucks and we don't want to do that. And I was like, okay, so you're like really in here. He's like, dude, I'm about it. And I was like, okay, bet.
Is this his full time? Is this his? I'm seriously considering getting one on stream. So answer my questions honestly. Is this his full time thing?
He's 90%. I mean, he works at the restaurant because he's his family owns the Mexican restaurant because he's Mexican. So he works there 3 hours a day for managing because he has to. And he gets a shit ton of money from that because it's the family business. And then everything else is Invisible Friends, Wolf Boy. Like he loves the like DGen tunes.
What's his role in Invisible Friends?
No. Sorry, he's community manager. Like the only job he has is with Wolf Boy. He's community manager there full time. But then he's like he's big into the Invisible Friends ecosystem. He's friends with all the guys over there. So he really, really done a great job. When he first got in, I was like, bro, you need to get on Twitter. And he was like, nah. And then I was like, bro, I told you to get in NFTs and now you're here. So just get into Twitter. And so he finally started, and he's doing an excellent job building a brand on Twitter. He's really dove in deep into like 3 or 4 ecosystems and made a name in each one. Like he did it for Possessed. He became one of the top people there.
Okay. And then the other guy that you mentioned, what's his name? The other founder?
Lux is the founder.
And what do we know about him?
So what I know about Lux, I haven't met him personally yet, but I know he's good friends with Devin, and I watched Lux build his business on Instagram as well. I watched it happen, so I know it was successful. I watched him do it. They did a great job with consistency. They posted every single day for years. It was very, very cool to watch. So I know as a businessman, he's got what it takes.
Do they still have this business?
So they stopped. In real life, they both stopped everything to do Wolf Boy because they were like, we don't have time. We don't even want to do this anymore.
Did they sell out of that business, or did they just close it down?
He just stopped. He stopped taking commissions until further notice, basically, because he was like, fuck it, I'm going all in on Wolf Boy. So he dropped everything to do Wolf Boy, and I did a podcast with Lux. So if you guys want to watch that, you can find that. Just type in K.
I'm going to watch it after this.
So that was a great conversation with him, and from what I know is that he's all in on this shit. Of course, you don't know. I mean, Kevin Rose also said the same thing, so there's always a risk of something going wrong. But this project from this standpoint is stronger than most that I would say, which is why I'm comfortable publicly saying this is cool, even though I know the guys in the team. Because it's like, yes, I know them, but I also wouldn't buy more than 2 if I didn't actually like it. You know,
is the community strong?
That's the one thing that is like so sick about them. Like that's their number one thing. So once you get in, that's when people realize, oh shit, this is dope, because they buy it. Then they jump into Discord. There's a bunch of cool little benefits that can't really publicly mention, I guess, that you're not supposed to, but you get access to a couple of things that are really fun that pay for you buy one right now. You pay for, if you like UFC or fighting or boxing or any of those sports that are streamed, you'll be happy. And I can't really say, I guess, on stream,
okay,
but
that's fine.
Let me show you this. So this is the one I minted, right? So I minted this a long time ago just to show you what the phase is going to look like. It's really cool because the pixel.
Let's see if I like the look. So what is happening now? What's the new thing that you're saying? You can now change them on chain.
Pixel to non-pixel, and it's going to be so much better art. It's phenomenal. Let me show you what my pixel looks like, just so I can give you a visual.
I have a bit bigger.
Because I've had this version for a while. So this is the pixel version of my Wolf. Let me turn the brightness up a tiny bit.
No, I saw. He's cool.
That's my pixel. I really love the
art. Hold it there. There we go. Now it's focused. Nice. Yeah.
So now let me show you the phase. So once I phase it, it will look like this.
Hold on. Keep it there. Ah, yeah. 3D.
Dude, I fuck with it heavy. And so there's another phase that's coming up as well in the roadmap.
And what is the other phase going to be? So what else have they, that was going to be my question. What else have they got coming up?
The phase 3 for the art is going to be the same style, I believe. I don't think it's going to be like a new collection. I think it's the exact same style as the phase, but the phasing, it will be from pixel to whatever this is to, I think the next one is, because I don't think this is 3D. I think this is 2D. I think the next one is either 3D or it's, yeah, I think it's 3D. I think there's no other artwork version, is there? It's just there's what is there? Pixel, there's 2D, there's 3D. Is there anything else?
Okay, but Kate, except for them offering different sort of versions of the art, which I think is cool, is there anything else exciting that you're aware of that's coming up, or is this pretty much the extent? Like, what are they sort of medium to long term?
Immediate, short to midterm, I know the phasing, the art phasing is what's important to them because their community is so strong. They want to basically have that as an option for them. For mid to long term, I don't know. I haven't checked in on their roadmap for the mid to long term. I've also stopped checking that as much and more just paying attention to what they're focusing on, just because like something like a long term goal is something that changes because the meta changes. So like, if Dogepound had an idea they wanted to do a year ago, actually, let me give a better example. I interviewed Minnie, who was the founder of Zen Ape, who's a super OG project launched on the CyberKongz ecosystem. And a year after they launched, right, they had this thing on the roadmap that was going to take a year. And after a year, they did it, they dropped it, they finished it. And everyone was pissed because they were like, we don't want this anymore. And it's like the problem with like the mid to long term roadmap where you're like, we're going to have this is like a lot of times by the time it's time to do that, people don't even care about it anymore or the meta's changed. They want something else. I understand. So I don't know.
But you think these guys are in this long run?
I believe so, yeah.
There's none listed on Blur, which is weird. All the floor ones are OpenSea. Why is that? Is there something that you can't list them on Blur, or what is the story there?
I think people just, I assume they just are like using OpenSea. I have no idea. I mean, I've never listed on Blur or X2Y2 or anything really.
No, but usually if you want to buy an NFT, no matter pretty much whatever it is, if it's listed on Blur, you can pick it up a little bit cheaper. That's why I was looking
Oh,
on Blur.
I have no idea.
So it's very rare to see the whole page of floor ones being OpenSea
Wait, let me see.
listings. But there is a Blur listing here. I
Oh,
saw
there
a Blur
is.
listing. So that it can be listed on Blur. It's just very strange to me. I've never actually seen that all of the floor ones on Blur are OpenSea listings. I mean, if you give me any collection name, that's not the case. It's cheaper on Blur. I mean, that could be bullish.
I'm gonna
That
text
could be
Devin and
bullish.
ask if he knows anything about it because I don't know. I don't like. I've never even thought to check that honestly until you just brought it up. So let me text him. Actually, let's just call him. Why don't we just call Devin right now?
Call him. Call him.
Let's
Tell him
on
we're talking
FaceTime.
about Wolf Boy. You've got a potential buyer, and I want to speak to
Shit,
him.
wait, hold on. Let me double check that they're not on Spaces. If I call him and he's on Spaces, it'll rug his audio. Let me just double check that he's not in the
But
middle.
I think this is so cool because I think this can this should be everyone's thinking when looking to get into an NFT.
Yep.
Is like, who are the founders? Are they committed long term to this project?
Exactly.
What are their plans? What are their short term plans?
Nope,
what are their
he's here.
medium to long term?
He's here. All right, Devin, I got a question. You're on stream, by the way. You don't have to answer this, but we had a question just because we were talking about Wolf Boy a little bit on the stream. So, and we're on live right now. But he was looking at the activity and he noticed that there's no Wolf Boys listed on Blur. And like they're basically
There's
all
not none.
on the floor.
There's not none, but no floor. It's cheaper on OpenSea than Blur, which is
so he's
weird.
basically saying it's cheaper on OpenSea versus Blur, which is not normal. Like most of the time you can find, cheaper ones on alternate marketplaces. He was wondering if you knew anything about it. Like I didn't even know to check that, but like, do you have anything on that?
Typically the reason you find cheaper listings on Blur or X2Y2 is because they're stolen NFTs. So typically on Blur, all the cheap ones are stolen NFTs, but from what we know now, most of them are not stolen. And the thing is that when someone gets their Wolf Boy stolen, me or Chase or one of the team members, we typically buy those stolen NFTs off the floor by the hacker, and we'll send them back to the person who lost them. So there's really not many stolen Wolf Boys out in the open because we send them back to the original owner with our own personal money. So that's probably why you're not seeing any cheaper wolves listed on Blur X2Y2s, because there are no stolen NFTs to be sold on those marketplaces.
Phil, you got
Devin hear me?
Hold on, let me see if this will work. If I turn on Bluetooth, I might be able to actually connect you. Hold on one sec. Let's try this. All right, Devin, say something.
Hello?
All right, can you hear this?
Devin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Oh, nice, you can.
How's it, my brother? It's Philip. How are you?
How's it going? Sorry, I'm driving right now. But what's up?
No worries. You live on YouTube. I hope you don't mind. Devin, we were just talking about Wolf Boys because Kate doesn't shut up about it. Crypto Dream doesn't shut up about it. I'm considering buying one. Apparently, your community is amazing and all the rest of that. I know that Kate's been telling me that the 3Ds are coming out and a whole lot of that sort of stuff. What is the sort of medium to long term plan? Like, where do you see this in a year, 2 years time?
So the thing about us is that when we created it, we really created with the social club aspect, like a place. Like there's a lot of projects nowadays that try to create this sense of utility. And one thing that Cade knows about me is I find utility to be kind of a sham. It's something short term that people like attach onto, and then it kind of just fades and disappears. So while we do have utility planned, it's not really what we want to push, because at the end of the day, I don't think utility will matter at the end of the day. It's all about the art and what people attach to, and the communities that you're involved in. So when we created Wolf Boy, it was more of a social aspect where people could, come in and discuss between one another and just have a good time, just like a social club. Like when you people that buy memberships to these yacht clubs and they go talk with like-minded people. But as for the future, the way we built out our tech, it's really crazy because we essentially can change our metadata at any point in time, depending on a holiday, a collaboration. We can literally give your Wolf Boy literally clothing that it can wear from these collaborations. For example, one that we like to use all the time is North Face. If we were to collab with North Face, I'm not getting out. Just give me the dragon drink that I ordered. For example, if we collab with North Face, for example, we can collaborate with North Face and give your Wolf Boy an actual North Face jacket in collaboration with them, and you can throw it on your Wolf Boy and take it off whenever you want, all while being a gasless transaction that's updated via metadata, like actually.
Yeah, so that's similar to Antonym, I think, had that as well. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, and the thing about that is that no one has been able to do it. So we've seen projects like the Crypto Goons where they created their wonky collection, where you have to like essentially send your old OG NFT to a certain wallet, and in return you get your wonky one. Or Feline Fiends, I don't know if you know about them, where they have like an integrated button on OS that you click and it'll swap between the versions. But the thing that we wanted to do is we wanted you to be able to go on our Wolf Boy collection and essentially see some Wolf Boys are in pixel, some of them are in phase 2, 2D, some of them are in 3D, whatever the case is. We wanted all those different Wolf Boys to be shown on one single collection, so you as the user get to display in one collection which art form you want to show. And the thing is no one was able to do that. So one of our end goals is to license this tech to people.
I don't have you saying the right way.
Okay, I don't care. I don't want anything. So yeah, so the end goal is to be able to license this tech, and that'll be another source of income on its own.
And let's say it does go that way, and you're able to license the tech. Would holders get a piece of that money that you get from licensing?
From people using our tech?
So I'm saying, let's say I've got 10 Wolf Boys, and Wolf Boy as a company is able to get to that level. Does that benefit the holders directly or only really indirectly?
I guess for now, it would kind of just be more indirectly, because any of the funds that we would get from sourcing out that tech to different projects to use, all of that would essentially kind of just go back into the project, into the community wallet, just to continuously be able to grow our brand and what we do. Like, one thing that we've done is we've given away like thousands of dollars worth of merch completely for free, and we were doing that before we even minted. Whereas most projects typically don't give their people anything until they actually buy an NFT. So,
Devin, I've got one question. I've added one to my cart. I'm about to check out. If I post the sale on my Twitter, will you repost it and also post it in your Discord and tell them they must follow the Web3 show, your community?
I think Kate has my Twitter. It's Chupapi East on Twitter. If you shoot me a follow, that way you can DM me and I'll see it. Send me your tweet, and I'll get our whole Wolf pack in our raid channel on Discord.
Damn.
Okay, so everyone is watching me purchase a Wolf Boy, my brother. You got a deal. The deal is done, and I look forward to getting to know you better. We have spoken once before through Cade, but I really appreciate it. He speaks very highly of you, and you now have a new holder, my friend.
Woo! Let's fucking go!
Absolutely. And I think so. Our phasing platform, where you will be able to update your Wolf Boy to 2D, goes live at 2:22 Pacific Standard Time.
So 1 hour and a half from here.
Yeah. So in an hour and a half, you will be able to go to. We'll set out the link. Obviously, we haven't put out the link yet, but you'll be able to go to there and refresh your metadata and phase your Wolf Boy gasless, and you'll be able to see how smooth that process is. And I think you'll be really impressed. And we will also be holding a Twitter space during that time. So if you have any questions later in an hour or so, once you guys are done here doing y'all's thing, pop in, say what's up. I'll be in the space. The founder will be in the space. So will the other core team members, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah,
amazing. I'm now a holder. I want to see this tweet get 1 million retweets. I'll do it after the show, my friend. But thank you for your time. It's really been nice talking to you.
I'll do my best, brother. But yeah, just send it to me. I got you.
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks, Devin. I appreciate you, bro.
All right.
All right. We'll talk soon. Peace. Damn, bro. Well, okay. First off, that's gonna be cool. First off, the traits on that remind me of your Bored Ape.
Yeah, a bit of that trippy. Isn't that funny? That just went a little bit on a tangent. That I mean, the whole that was completely unplanned. But you know what? The thing for me, the biggest thing, is just the fact that I've been hearing it so much. I mean, that means that people are talking about it, people are believe in them, and that goes a long way. So, and he sounds great. I know you respect him, I respect you. If they were sitting at half an ETH floor, it would be a bit of a longer conversation with him possibly. But for this amount to get into it, what a pleasure. So I'm happy. Let's carry on, Kate. We've got so much to get through. But I'll also make a standalone little video out of this. I'll break this up for them so that they've got it as well.
Also, I will sell on a pump. I have a bunch, but there's a few that are in my ledger that will stay there. So I will be part of the community forever because I'm supportive of him, Devin, and Lux as friends. So I will be in that project. Even if you see my name and it's like Cade sold, I have not sold all of them. I still got plenty.
It's fine. I've got no problem.
Just so people.
I've got a really, really cool story here. This isn't like a celebrity coming into the space and making NFTs. This is really, really cool. Rihanna's producer has launched a small NFT collection, which by owning the NFT gives you a percentage of royalties on her song "Bitch Better Have My Money," right? So the NFT is literally proving that you have royalties to the song. Now, it's not like a tiny freaking artist. This is Rihanna. And to be quite honest, I think that the song name is freaking perfect to launch an NFT collection on, which gives you royalties. Bitch, you better have my money, right? That's how I feel if I buy one of her NFTs. But there's only a collection of 300 NFTs. And each of them gives you a small percentage of royalties, so 0.0033%. Now, I'm not in the music business, and I don't know how much a top-selling artist will make on royalties, on a good song for the next however long. However, this is really an interesting use case for NFTs. Here we're seeing you get real value and real proper financial value from holding an NFT. You are literally getting a percentage of 0.003% of her royalties on the song.
Yep. Very cool. I love that, especially because if more artists did this thing, like who are already rich, and they're like, yo, let's just drop a quick little NFT and we'll just drop this news and be like, yo, here's a bunch of money, and just build their brand up in a really positive light at the beginning, get them started. I don't know if that's legal, but if that was legal and you could just do that, I think it's a great move for if you're already rich. Like, this is the thing. If you're already rich, you just have a lot. If you're already rich in NFTs, there's just so much that you could do that just doesn't cost really that much money compared to like if you have some money that can really help you out. And I just don't see a lot of people with a lot of money doing the right things. Like, even the people with a lot of money are still acting selfishly first. And I'm like, you don't do that. Like, you have to put the community first in order for this to work. And if you're already rich, why not do this? Why not spread the love a little bit? So I like this. I think this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, if she very, very cool. Now bigger, it at least would have a good sentiment and be like, yo, she already gave back. She didn't take. She gave first, and now she's dropping this collection. If she was to follow this up with like a 5,000 collection, it was 0.03 ETH. People weren't mad about anything. They were like, well, there's only good things we can say about her. Shit. That's a pretty successful drop right there. Rihanna, hire me.
Yeah. But look, it's interesting. So typically a producer gets less than 5% royalties for any given song. I'm trying to see exactly like what. So here it's saying Justin Blur's Web3 music platform Royal raised 16 million in 2021. Royal reports that it's since paid out $130,000 in royalties. That's not massive. Let's do this. Let's say, how much money does Rihanna make in royalties alone? This will obviously be across her entire collection of songs. It says, how much money is she worth? No. Okay. 10.1 million in royalties in 2016. But remember, that's all her songs, all of the past ones. Every time a radio station plays it, so it's literally all of her songs. That's reoccurring. How's that for a nice little reoccurring income package over there? Just in 2016, he has $10 million. Yeah.
That's insane.
She made $22 million from her music alone. I mean, $270 million. So look, I mean, you'd want to do the maths, right? You'd want to say, okay, how much does this NFT cost? Typically, on a song that is of this caliber, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's not really my style of music. Typically, on a song that's of this sort of caliber, what royalties would you expect in year 1, year 2, year 3? Also, I think you'd want to clarify: is the royalty just for a set period of time, or is it reoccurring royalties? And then work out if it's viable from a financial perspective to do it. The cost of the NFT is $210, so 0.145 ETH. Obviously, that $210 fluctuates with the price of ETH, but it's 0.145 Ethereum, right? And then you receive that in streaming royalties. Okay. So again, it's already starting to become a bit less and a bit less and a bit less. But yeah, interesting to me. I like the use case. That's the main thing that I like about
I just like yeah. I agree with you.
Do you like Rihanna?
I don't really give a shit. I don't really care for her music that much, so I don't have any personal vested interest in her. She's a big name.
That's why Kate's my co-host. Bro, what do you think about NFTs? I don't give a shit. Bro, what do you think about this? I don't know.
Well, you asked me about Rihanna. For Rihanna, I don't really give a shit. I know she's a huge cultural figure, though. I think people actually underestimate her. I know she's one of the biggest names ever, but I do think
she's a very big name.
A lot of people
also don't know about her music, bro.
That's the thing. A lot of people don't know anything about her. She's so famous, but a lot of people don't know anything about them. Like, there's some people that
I think that's how I would be. I'd be like that. Like, I don't want people to know too much, right?
Actually, I'm trying to think, like, if Justin Bieber would fall in that category, if Justin Bieber would be different. Like, I feel like a lot more people have heard of a few songs from Justin Bieber and know it was Justin Bieber versus Rihanna. A lot of people have heard her songs, but don't realize that that's Rihanna.
I don't even know it's her. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I think about it. But I think it's a great move from her. I mean, I already said it a second ago. Like, I think the idea of giving first is much better and is a very safe way. And I don't see why more people wouldn't do that. Start off easier and then kind of like lean in as your brand grows and as people start to have more faith in you. Then you can start to roll out things where maybe you're making some money.
And I like the fact that they've also done a small collection because it allows you to sort of build an intimate, smaller community to begin with, which is really, really cool. All right, another big name in the space, and this is quite interesting, Louis Vuitton. I'm gonna butcher the artist Yayoi Kusama. Is that right, Kate? I know you're more Asian than me.
Yayoi Kusama. That's probably what I would have said too.
All right, to drop 10,000 NFTs. It's not just, again, this one stood out for me. So I'm not just looking for big names here. Obviously, everyone knows Louis Vuitton. It's a huge name or whatever. But they have really partnered with Yayoi Kusama, like hugely. So in the background of here, you can see the Louis Vuitton stores, the physical stores, have all got these dots, which is her sort of typical art style. They've designed over and above the NFTs. So just forget the NFTs for a second. They've designed an entire collection of bags with her dots on them and shoes and everything like that. This is their normal. I'll take you to their Louis Vuitton website. The Louis Vuitton website is just full of dots. So separate, completely separate to this NFT collection. The NFT collection is just a tiny part of this massive collab that they are doing with her. So you can see here, I mean, this will definitely copyright me. So I'll just play a tiny bit and I'm switching off the sound. But bro, look at the billboards that they do. I mean, like, this is all just advertising this collab together, right? I'm going to stop it there because anything over 11 seconds, I'm going to get in trouble. Like a fortune of stuff going on here. And part of that is this NFT collection that they're dropping. And, we were talking the other day, Cade, about Porsche and how their main Twitter account didn't even tweet out more than once or twice about the drop. And you just didn't see their parent company, the Porsche, really interested in Ethereum Porsche or NFT. This is the complete opposite. Louis Vuitton is making the biggest noise about this collab, and I think it's so cool. I mean, this is their website at the moment, the Louis Vuitton official website.
This is cool. This is how it should be. Like, it should be part of something, an extra edition, like almost like a Happy Meal with a little bit inside. I love how they wrap this up. So shout out Louis Vuitton. People are getting smarter. It's good because there needed to be trailblazers who fucked up so people knew what to not do. You know, there are many ways they could have not fucked those things up by just listening to us in the first place, but you know, they did their thing, they fucked themselves up, and now we have people stepping on top of them to do bigger and better things. So shout out Louis V. I'm a big fan of Louis V. I don't think, to my knowledge, that they've done anything super fucked up yet that would FUD everything about their brands, but you know, we'll see.
I think this is so cool. I mean, they're literally making an entire range around this, and as you said, a tiny part of it is the NFTs. It's not, you know, and they're proud of it. I'm just like, I'm not saying bullish or bearish or whatever. This is exactly what Kate said. This is how Web2 brands should be doing this. This is what it's supposed to be done like, as far as how a collab should be done, and with NFTs as a small part of a very big marketing mix of TV, you know, adverts and online and radio and print and everything all together. NFTs or Web3 is one of those components in that marketing plan.
I think I have any follow-up thoughts on this whole thing.
But do you agree with that statement? Like, seriously, do you think that that's the way it should be? Like, you're a company, you've got all these options. You can do print media, which is basically a magazine article or whatever. You can do online, which is basically Web2 Facebook adverts or banners on Google. And you can do TV adverts, radio adverts. And another part of your marketing plan could be somehow to launch some sort of NFT collection that gives some sort of value or membership or whatever. So it becomes one of the marketing mix options is Web3, which you can use NFTs to do.
Of course, dude. Yeah, the NFT. I mean, NFTs. How do I say this? Like, the idea of NFTs is just an extension. It's always been an extension of your brand. Like, Joy H Kingdom has always been an extension of me. So in that sense, in that spirit, absolutely, dude. Yeah, this is an extra little thing. It's kind of like the Starbucks Odyssey. Like, I've actually gotten more and more interested in the Starbucks Odyssey and the Nike ID beta, just because I was like, wait a second, this is like kind of where we're headed. Actually, this makes way more sense and is actually a thing, because if people actually come back, like, for example, Louis V, people go in every day to Louis V to buy Louis V. It's a thing. People will go and buy it. There's market fit. There's proven market demand for it. Same with Starbucks. People go in every single day to buy Starbucks. So therefore, there is, if they want a digital experience to be had, and to get that access to digital experience, you must have their NFT. I'm absolutely down with that, and I'm very excited to see where that goes. And there's plenty of opportunities to get jobs with these companies as an advisor or to talk to them. Like, random people are on these people's teams. Like, I don't know who the fuck these people are sometimes. Like, someone will be like directing manager of a company.
Whoever that Porsche advisor was should never mention it to anyone ever. Whoever the Web3 advisor to Porsche was, or the team of advisors, my word of advice, if you ever see this, is do not put that on your CV. Okay. Whereas whoever's advising Louis Vuitton, be very proud. All right. Another big brand, Hublot. So these guys are really well known for high-end watches. Paid like very high-end watches, like above Rolex. I mean, they before this, they are a massive, not massive, they are a very reputable watch brand. One of the top 5 in the world, in my opinion, from what I know about them. I'd heard about them before that, the watch side of them. So now they've done a collab with Takashi Murakami. Now we know him. He collabed with CloneX. He's done a whole lot of stuff with them. He collabed early with CloneX, very early, even before all of this. He's got his own collection, Murakami Flowers. He's done other very notable collabs. So you got a very notable Web3 artist and a very, very notable Web2 company collabing together, which is always good to see. And they, again, are launching physical watches with his flowers in them, Hublot watches, which I think is freaking cool. And I think that to see them coming together like this, two worlds, is just really exciting to me. I'm loving what we're seeing here.
This is sick, dude. Takashi Murakami, goddamn, this motherfucker's doing really. I mean, he's doing well because the projects have done well that he's worked with in the past. But he's also got that incredible brand. So this is really fucking cool, dude. I mean, it really just goes to show for myself, just every single time something like this happens, it's just more and more proof that like this is a thing. Like otherwise they wouldn't bother jumping in. I mean, yes, there's some money to be had, but they wouldn't be spending money, resources, companies, even countries, nations wouldn't be bothering if this wasn't really, really starting to catch.
Yeah. So what's interesting here, it's a collection size, Kate. It's 13 NFTs. So remember, Hublot is very exclusive. So it's literally 13. You're actually buying 13. Let's say you want to buy one. You're actually buying the watch.
Yeah.
But the watch is coming with an NFT. Like we've always said, Rolex, if you buy a car, it should come with an NFT. Yeah. If you buy a wife, that marriage certificate should be an NFT. If you buy a house, if you buy
Wait, did you say buy a wife?
I know, I was being funny. If you buy a house, that should come with an NFT. Proof of ownership, right? So here, if you buy one of these 13 designs of Hublot watches, they come standard with an NFT. And what's going to be very interesting for me here is to see what the NFT alone, the secondary market on the NFT alone will be. Because there's going to be some people who just love the look of the watch. They don't know the NFT space. They don't know who Takashi Murakami is. Because if you're not in Web3, I don't think you really know much about him. And they might just get an NFT and see that they can sell it and get $1,000 and be very happy with it. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, bro.
Just trying to decide, like, if you bought the actual watch, they're not tied together, I guess. You can always sell the NFT once you get the watch.
You can sell them separate, but I think as far as like Hublots are typically collectible, right? And you would want it. So there's 13 designs, but there'll be 13 unique designs, but there'll be 300 and something NFTs. It said it somewhere. I saw it earlier. 324 NFTs in total, and so there'll be 13 different designs. So I don't know if it will be equally split or if it's going to have different rarity, right?
Yeah.
And then you can only get 12 designs. If you own all 12 NFTs, you will be able to purchase the 13 design, the rainbow version.
Whoa! Be able to own all 12.
Wow. So there's a bit of gamification there as well.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Wow.
And each will retail for CHF 50,000. What is CHF francs?
I do not know actually.
Swiss francs, yeah. So that equals R1 million in South African rand. So that equals $60,000.
There are some big boys and girls that would pay some good money for those Hublot watches and Hublot NFTs.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I'm looking at is what does a Hublot watch cost like by itself? And again, I don't know whether these are genuine and I don't know whether these are new. That's used 160,000 rand.
Jesus.
I would imagine that's a new one, but I don't know. Yeah, I told you they're very high-end watches. It's hard to know whether they're new or not. Yeah, Chrono 24. It's interesting, bro. Interesting to see just different use cases for this. Again, it's going to be very heavily collectible. There's only ever going to be 324 of these things. So I think that's really cool from a watch perspective.
Yes, I agree. This is cool shit, dude. This is really cool. This is how you should be doing it. So I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah, and I like different companies coming up with the products specifically for that collab. Yeah, very, very, very cool.
And if you try imagine like the NFT, there will be an NFT that attaches to it that won't have any trading, like it won't have like a trading component. It'll just be more like, yo, you bought the thing, so you get the NFT. I'm not sure how that'll work. It'll be one of those things like coming later. Also, why is everyone on TikTok keep saying stuff about the third or fourth person that says something about UBI? Oh wait, no, that's just one person. Never mind. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Continue. You may proceed. All right, Cade, we got Yuga and Ryder Rips deciding to settle. So this is just interesting because it's a little bit interesting, but more interesting because it's interesting to get into. I know I just said interesting like 400 times. It's interesting to get into Yuga's legal mindset in general because of these CryptoPunks from Bitcoin. right? Because I can't imagine that Yuga's happy that there's now someone using their name on Bitcoin NFTs, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And I think you might be able to get a bit of insight to see this, what's been happening here in this lawsuit with Ryder Rips. Very, very briefly, there was a separate video on this that I did on my channel. Not sure, Kate, did you do the Ryder Rips Yuga whole court thing on your channel?
Yeah, I think I did.
So you're also on Kate's channel. But very, very basically, Ryder Rips, this guy, a lot of people said he was looking for attention. Other people said he had a great point. He originally actually copied some CryptoPunks, and he was trying to prove a point that you're allowed to copy them if you just change one small thing about them or something to that effect. And he got a cease and desist on the CryptoPunk collection. If it was CryptoPunks, it was something like that, something in the Yuga ecosystem. And he ended up refusing to adhere to it because he said legally they can't do it. That's the whole point he was trying to prove. OpenSea took that collection down and then actually had to reinstate it because Yuga didn't press charges and couldn't prove that they could. He then went on to do the same thing or a similar thing with the Bored Ape Yacht Club collection. And Yuga pretty much said enough is enough. You're copying our artwork, and you're copying literally copying our artwork. He also launched it with a whole video about how Yuga Labs are Nazis and racist and all things like this, which was big in the space when it happened. Anyway, Yuga Labs took him to court, and they've been fighting backwards and forwards for quite a while. They have now decided to settle together. So they have said we're not carrying on with the court case, and they've come to an agreement between the two of them, Yuga Labs and Ryder Rips, the terms of which we don't know exactly. It's a confidential agreement, but we do know certain things about it. So the one thing is that Ryder has said that they has agreed that he's not allowed to use their artwork again in future. So he cannot do what he's done on CryptoPunks, and he cannot do what he's done on the Bored Ape collection again. He agrees to that. He won't do it in future. Whether there was a monetary settlement on either side, no one actually knows. But the Yuga was claiming that Ryder Rips only did this to profit, that he made over $5 million. So I don't know. Other people are saying that Ryder Rips probably just ran out of money for legal fees and just wanted to settle. No one knows the exact terms of it, but we do know that it has been settled out of court now.
Damn, interesting. Out of court.
Well, it just means out of court, meaning they met, the two teams, lawyers and whatever, met and said, let's settle. The next day they went to court and they said to the judge, we now settled. We don't need you to rule on this case or preside. So it's called settling out of court, right? So it's not like the judge ordered these terms. The court case never ended. The court case never finished. There was no findings yet or awards of damages or anything. The two parties, Yuga Labs and Ryder Rips, came to an agreement together where they agreed to settle and remove the court case from the courts.
Wait, so is the collection up? I forget.
No. The collection's down, and he's not allowed to do it any further. Anyway.
He made a fuck ton of money from that. I imagine he spent a lot of it on the court cases and like the lawyers.
I imagine he did. Really, with lawyers like that, it does go pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. Yeah, you can see that collection, the most recent one. When it was on OpenSea, it was taken down within 24 hours, but still selling on other marketplaces. They reached a 1.1 ETH floor, which was absolutely crazy.
I remember that too. I remember people were buying at 1 ETH, and I was like, yikes, this is going to end bad.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have too many thoughts on this just because it's so long ago, and I figured it just kind of got buried amongst all the other things. I completely forgot.
So it's been in court. It's been in court, but now it is final. Now it's finalized, settled, all been done and dusted. Oh, that's a different view. I don't know. Do you prefer that, or do you prefer the up? Sorry, the shirt has got a label honestly, at the back that keeps scratching.
So this actually is alpha for you because I've seen your TikToks, and I've seen that a lot of times I guess this doesn't really help that, but this will help the segments where we are talking and there's no screen sharing, is that when you're clipping this up for TikTok, it's better to have this than the other one because you have more.
Can we get both of us in this?
Yeah, because if you're gonna edit it for TikTok, you should keep it like this because these are already compressed how it's gonna be on TikTok, and how it's going to be on an iPhone, it's already the right size. If you zoom it in, now you've reduced the quality. So if you keep it like this, when you're in post and you're editing it for TikTok, all you have to do is put one clip on top of the other, and it's going to be higher quality. And I've really, really enjoyed that the past few weeks after learning about this. So I've switched over all my podcasts to be like this, where it used to be kind of more condensed, So that's just my
interesting.
take.
No, your take on social stuff is up there, my brother. All right, then we got a couple of AI related stories. So this is again, like in some ways obvious. We know that Microsoft has been working with ChatGPT for a long time before this, and actually this $10 billion investment of Microsoft in ChatGPT was actually a renewal. The renewal was coming up. They were already working with ChatGPT. And you got to know that Google was also working with AI companies. Whether they were working with Bard or not, we don't know. But you can also imagine, I've got absolutely zero doubt in my mind that all the big tech companies have got an AI division and are working with AI companies, not just because of the news of ChatGPT coming out in the last couple of months, so much, but this has been around for 5-10 years, and the big tech companies are definitely all very much involved. I mean, Apple, Facebook, all of them are using AI quite extensively, in my opinion. But what we do see is Google has now announced, it's in retaliation to Microsoft announcing about Bing, Google's announced that they've got their own chatbot. It's called Bard, right? B-A-R-D. Now, this is good to know because everyone was saying, look, Google's going to be taken out by this, because whereas when you search on Google, you almost like walking into a library and saying to Google, where do I find a book on cooking? Right. And Google says to you, right here and right here and right here. You then have to go.
Sponsored ads.
Exactly. You then have to go open the book and look at the back of the book, and you have to do your own sort of research. Whereas AI is like, hi, ChatGPT, please write me a cooking book. I like cooking books to be quite short. I like them to have pictures. I prefer vegan, and it will write you the perfect cooking book. So that's easy to see how Google could feel threatened when Bing, Microsoft search engine, is now writing the cooking book, opposed to just showing people hundreds of thousands of cooking books as results. So Google's quickly come out and said, hold on, guys. We've also got our AI. Don't worry so much. And they've called it Bard, B-A-R-D. And that's what's happening. So now we've got the big giants of Google and Microsoft, the two biggest search engines. Bing is about 11% of the search engine market. Google is about 70 something percent, but Bing is the next biggest. So Google's huge, and then Bing is the next biggest, and then you got a whole lot of other little ones under it, right? So this is great to see. AI is going to be coming to search results, which is really cool.
This is a step in a positive direction for content creators, because we are seeing, and people have been saying this for a while, attention's the new money. But let me tell y'all, fam, attention is the money now. Like, for real, you're watching tech giants fight over attention. The money comes with the attention, but the real power comes from your influence online. Whoever people go to when they think, what am I going to look something up? Do they go to ChatGPT or do they go to Google? Now they're two separate entities. They're going to be competing for your attention because they compete for your usage, basically, and they want you to use their engine. And so to do that, they're going to have to one up each other, which is great for us because we are the benefactors of all those upgrades. So now we have a big decision. Do we roll back into Bing? For myself, that's probably not going to happen. Like, there's a very little chance that I go to Bing, even though ChatGPT is there, if Google's going to have their own and it's just as good. So if their AI product is just as good and I can just use that, I think a lot of people would just stick with Google. It'll be really hard to get people to jump back into Bing. I didn't tell you the last time I got on Bing, and I don't really want to. So it's a really tough decision, but it's cool because we're watching tech giants do this. We watch YouTube and TikTok fight. We're watching all the tech giants fight. And for people who are content creators, you want to be a content creator, this is the time, because you're going to be the ones who can benefit from this. And it's going to be a great time for us. That's why I'm full force content. Like, nothing has changed from my thesis there, but this is awesome. AI is going to do a lot of things, but it will help. And I'm very excited to see where it goes.
So the big question now, and the thing that's going to be interesting to watch unfold is like who's going to be first to market. So we do know that Microsoft has already started integrating AI. Is Google just playing defensive here? So are they? Yes, they have this company that they bought, but are they years out? And they're saying, hold on, Cade, who loves Google, and Cade and Philip, who love Google, are now going to maybe move over to Bing, maybe enjoy it. Let's quickly tell them, guys, don't even worry. We're going to have the same thing on Google. Stay where you are. Or are they pretty much ready to launch? Are they round the corner from launching it? That's what the question is, right?
It's hard to know because the ChatGPT Bing announcement came on the 2nd, and then the Google, the other one, came the 3rd. So it was like they're basically the exact same time. It's really hard to know. We literally don't know. So, John, Google's AI failed in his presentation. Yikes. Okay, is that true? Oh my God!
It must be. It must be. But in the end of the day, so did Elon Musk when he tried to throw that metal ball at his bulletproof car and it went straight to the window. I mean, there's going to be things. I think even one of the Apple ones. I think it might have still been in Steve Jobs' days. The device didn't work or something. When it was the new Apple phone, the big unveil or whatever, there was a big problem with something there. I mean, those things happen. I think that the bigger thing is how far along is Google from being able to roll this out? That's the bigger question for me. And that remains to be seen because, we don't really know. Whereas we've got Microsoft revealing AI Copilot escalated with Google, and they already have announced their new feature. And the Edge browser, already has ChatGPT AI integrated into it. So currently, Microsoft is definitely ahead in this AI game.
Well, you actually have to use Bing is the thing. I don't know if actually people are using it though. Maybe they were first, but are people using?
But they might start. They might start if Google's is shit or if Google's isn't rolled out quick enough, and whereas Bing has already got it working, and now we've already seen that ChatGPT is now mostly, if you want consistent service, because it's always offline, you have to pay to get consistent service, or you can just go onto Microsoft Bing for free and experiment with it. So, if Google comes out tomorrow and theirs is great and working, then I don't think Bing will get much market share. If Google doesn't come out soon with a working AI and update their search engine results, people could start going over and really enjoying it and getting used to Bing.
They just need ChatGPT / Bing would need something that's so overarchingly better than Google's that it would be.
It's got AI, it's working with AI. That is better.
Sure, but we're weeks away from Google having the same thing. Is what I'm saying. Like you need
exactly.
Big move that gets people to say, okay, fuck it, I'm moving from Google. Fuck Google. It's really hard to do in the same way that even if Tesla dropped a phone, it would take an extra thing to get them to actually make some real sales and compete. It would have to have something that's really, really unique that you can't really replicate. And that's tough with AI because they can just learn from each other and just replicate it right after the other person comes after it. So I think we're in for a fucking ride. If I was to guess, I would say Google still wins this race, but we'll see.
Google, so Google has got a massive head start. 70-something% market share, from the perspective that they're starting the AI race way ahead, but Microsoft is way ahead in the AI side of it. So who gets to the finish line? Nobody knows. But I remember the days when Nokias were the only phone that anyone wanted. And really, it was as much as Apple is now. And then I remember the days when BlackBerry were the only phones that anybody wanted.
Blackberries
and now it's either Apple or Samsung, right? Yeah. But that changes, and we've seen that changes. So just because Google is so far ahead on the search game at this point does not mean that a disruptive technology like AI could come and turn them on their head.
It's just
could not come and turn them on their head.
Has it. But Google has AI. It's like that's true if Google didn't have AI, but Google literally has.
Well, that's why they've said they have this, right?
Yeah. So
but at the end of the day, it's not yet live. So is it days? Is it weeks? Or is it years? And they're just trying to buy time. I can tell you that there's a mad rush inside Google at the moment to get a prototype up and running, like live, that people can use, because otherwise they will start to slowly lose some market share.
Well, the issue with Microsoft is not a big player, right? I mean, they are a big player, but they're not a big player as far as attention. They have nobody knows. Like if you ask a random person in the street and you said, "Hey, like what is Microsoft?" They would probably struggle. They'd be like, "Oh, it's the computers, right?" And you're like, "Well, yeah, but like what is it?" Be like, well, I don't actually know." You know, like Microsoft's kind of hazy. They don't really know what the brand is. There's not like a.
But remember, that was the same. No one knew what BlackBerry was, and everyone knew Nokia. You remember also, Microsoft's in a unique position that a lot of PCs run on Windows, and by default, Bing is the search engine there, on the browsers by default. If when you get Microsoft and you open Safari or whatever they call Edge or whatever they call it, Bing is by default there. And now
I immediately go and download Google Chrome from Safari.
Exactly.
That's the first thing I do.
But if Bing is good and it's AI, like here it's saying, you can literally ask it any question verbally in your own language and it will answer it for you. Like certain things like that are just seamless for AI are difficult when there's no AI involved. And it's going to be interesting. I don't know the answer, but it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Good point. The AI will push this fucking digital world so fast. I'm very excited because AI, as it gets bigger, Metaverse has no choice but to grow with it, because if we can input stuff and things come out, there's no reason we can't do that visually. There's no reason AI can't learn to fix that and just throw that into a visual world. I've got so many video ideas for AI Metaverse style content together. That kind of spurred from my conversation with Brett. So I'm excited. I'm very excited for AI. It does make me nervous, but like not really. I'm much more excited.
No, it's very exciting. Very, very. And speaking of Tesla's fails, your friend, Kate, you and I are going to have a bit of an argument here, because I know that you look up to Elon Musk very, very, very much. I guess let me start this with this question. And this isn't targeted at you. There's a story behind this. Let me start this with this question. As we stand right now on the 10th of February, 2023, so we're about 3 months into Elon buying Twitter. How do you feel about it now? Like in general, do you feel more positive than you did at the time when you were very positive? Is it starting to wane, your positivity? Are you liking the changes that you're seeing? How do you feel at this point of time? If you had to score Elon Musk in the last 3 months with his work on Twitter, how is he doing? And don't be influenced by my very persuasive picture that I've got showing on the table.
I think it's way too early to give an opinion, because we don't know why he's doing certain things yet, besides the fact that he's experimenting with stuff and seeing how it goes, and he's got less people. So it's really that in that sense it's hard to know. As far as like how it's affected me, I have not really been negatively influenced, other than the only two things I can think of would be make Twitter Spaces better, have the ability to have thumbnails, have the ability to search a little bit better and to search through them. That's the only real thing that they're missing. Other than that, they just released Twitter. Now you can tweet more than 160 characters. That's huge. That did not happen until literally.
A lot of people are upset about the 4,000 characters and not liking the way it's done at all.
It's whatever. It cuts off at 160 anyway. It's the same as a thread. The literal exact same thing. You just click show more if you want. If not, you move on. And you see the first 160 characters. I think, what else would you want? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like the option to do it is now there.
It's better than I understand. So it's better than
I would rather have that. The link tree. Yeah, but that's the thing, Crypto Dream. Like, there's a couple of things that have just been like, yo, we're going to do this. And then it kind of just leads nowhere. But like, that's kind of what I expected when they came in. I didn't think it was going to be smooth when they came in. I figured a lot of nonsense would happen because they got to iron out what's stupid, what's not, what's going to work. And we still, again, like, we don't know which decisions have been made that are short term versus which decisions are made because there's a long-term benefit that will come in 5 years. We just literally don't know. We also know that he's desperately trying to make it monetizable. So that is a top priority for him. He's made video a stronger thing and a bigger play. There's a whole video tab now. It's actually really fun. If you scrolled on it, I think it could take, and they want to monetize and give back money to creators just for posting on their platform. If he can secure the funding and people can believe in him, they're good. And Twitter is trying to be the everything thing. They integrated payment plan or a payment, what do you call it? Like an addition to the thing. And that's really cool. I think there's a bunch of things that are like, this is what I would have expected if Elon Musk took over a social media platform. Like, that's kind of my answer. So yes, the answer is nothing has changed literally at all. It's a little bit frustrating because we're having to live through it sometimes, and there's some stupid shit that goes on, but they never last more than a day. So as long as you're not living on Twitter for real for like 15 hours a day, actually living on Twitter, and you're actually doing stuff with your life, and you're either making content, you're connecting to people, whatever, you're probably not that mad. You're probably more mad because you see other people tweeting that they're mad. So the reality is, ask yourself that question. You say, okay, what do I really know that they have done, haven't done? What do I actually care about? I think more people, if they zoomed out and asked themselves that question, they wouldn't have a definitive answer one way or the other that they maybe thought they had before. I think that this is pretty much what we would have expected and should have expected. And I think most people are just mad because they're only complaining about today. And yesterday, they were complaining about yesterday. And the day before, they're complaining about the day before. So those people can't be helped. But for myself, this is about what I expected.
Cool. Thank you. I love it. I love the feedback. So this is about Elon Musk allegedly fires. He's got 2 engineers left. So he fired one of the 2 engineers because he went to them and he said, look, I've got 100 million followers, but the engagement is terrible. I'm only getting like 10,000 retweets or whatever. One of the engineers who got fired suggested that possibly the interest is, his popularity is down, and he ended up firing the guy. The reason that I found this story quite interesting is because of the conversation, that we specifically had about the danger of having one person in control of free speech. So if we take a zoom out and a macro view, Elon took over Twitter because he said he wanted to protect free speech. That's his whole thing, right? He doesn't need the money. He really doesn't. He doesn't need the headaches. He was worried that the Democrats, Republicans, all of them are some of them are getting more views than others, which has been proven to be true. And he wanted to protect them from censoring different views on Twitter. Now he takes over Twitter. He's the only guy, as far as everyone who's there, he can literally ban you. He can, himself, no board to answer to because it's not a public company anymore. He can do what he wants. And we say, okay, well, if he is an amazing human being and a brilliant decision making, maybe that's not as dangerous as we think. But my whole thing is that that's what happened with Stalin, and you never want to give one person that amount of power. And then as time goes on and we start to see some of his actions, where he's unbanning this guy, but then banning someone else who was tracking his airplane. And now he's firing his top engineer who said, oh, sorry, that wasn't supposed to open. He's firing his top engineer who's just trying to give an opinion. It just makes you think,
this story specifically, is this actually real?
Do we want this guy in control of our free speech?
So I definitely have an answer to that question, but I do want to ask the legitimacy of this article. Like, is that actually why he got fired? And did he actually get fired? And who wrote this?
Okay, so this is by platformer.news. It was also on another one. I chose this one of the 2. And it's got links to the tweet that he used to test the engagement. It says from insiders, so you're fired, Musk told the engineer. Platformer is withholding the engineer's name. So they say they are, Platformer, this news, whatever, is saying that they have spoken directly to this engineer who was fired. That's what they're alleging. Now, I think they would lose their everything if they said this and that wasn't true. But who really knows? But this part here is what I'm referring to. I'll even make it bigger. So they were told, in quotation marks, this guy said, I was told you're fired, you're fired. Platformers withholding the engineer's name in light of the harassment Musk has directed at the former employee.
Well, this is hard.
Meaning that they know who it is.
You just asked a freshly fired engineer why they got fired. So it's hard to know because they've only gotten his side of it, how much this is actually true and how much that is the reason he got fired.
But there's a lot of smoke. I mean, when they were following his plane, bro, and he blocked that guy who just does it for fun. He follows people's planes. He wasn't a real threat. We're seeing a guy who's making rash decisions based on his personal views instead of someone who's taking calculated decisions in a relaxed environment where he's weighing up the pros and cons, consulting with people, answerable to people. Yep. Just in general, you are seeing more of this going on. This is not the only example of it. He's also being sued for not paying rent for his main head office. That's in mainstream media, right? He's refusing to pay rent. So there's lots of weird things going on that make you say to yourself, is this the guy we want to be in control of free speech?
So I do have an answer to this, and it's in lieu of me just finishing Game of Thrones. So this is fresh in my head as far as leaders starting off with a really, really strong moral mission and it turning into something else by the end, and then you becoming evil at the end and having to be killed because you can't be stopped because you want to take over the world kind of thing, because it became something on its own. And this is something that does scare me, because in the beginning I said, well, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Elon. If anyone's going to hold true to the mission, it's Elon. And I watched the show, which is a little bit silly to say out loud, but like, you watch this fictional show about this character who starts off morally, sound and all this stuff. She gets a couple big W's, a couple more big W's. Everyone starts listening to her. She says, oh shit, maybe I do really get this stuff. And now I want that. I'm going to take it. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to take it. And then someone says, you know what? You've become something that you were not before, and we can't have you here anymore. And with this, and they killed her. And so it gets me thinking with this idea of Elon, if he gets to a point where he gets so fucking powerful, he's got so many millions of followers, he can do anything he wants. Will it start to take up by its own and make some bad decisions? And I think the answer is yeah. I think there's no one who's, even myself or you, who is in that position who would be able to handle that kind of pressure. And especially if you're taking these wins as they go. People are feeding your ego. Things are fine. You still have money coming in. It's really, really hard to do that. And that Crypto Dream, that's a great quote right there from fucking Batman.
Yeah, I'm about to show it. Yeah.
Great quote. So
you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. That's exactly what Kate's saying.
With Elon, I don't love like each story is, you don't know if each one is true. So like, whether or not these things are confirmed or not, the idea of someone rising to this much power and having this level of do whatever he wants, it's a private thing. It, in some sense, it is what it is because it's a private company. He can do whatever he wants, but also because he's at the mercy, or everyone else at the mercy of him, because he's the helm of all these, the social media stuff. It does get me nervous, and it does remind me that just because they're a hero does not mean they're fucking God or something.
So Kate, do me a favor on your own time. Watch that. There's a standalone video there. If you just search Twitter on my YouTube, watch how you responded 7 or 6 or whatever months ago when they were talking about buying it, and we had that whole discussion, because you've changed, which is great. I've changed on a lot of stuff also. What did we start off saying where you were 100% right in the beginning of the show, and I was completely wrong. Just watch it back, because there are some red flags coming up here. But I see we're running out of time. I've got one question from our good friend JT. I want to touch on it, and then we're going to call it a night. So live Q&A, and the question is, good morning, Phil and Kate. Well, the answer is good morning, JT.
Good morning, my friend.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. No, the real question is here. What do you guys think of Digi villains? We did actually speak about it. I called them demons, but I meant the villains. I think they're the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm personally quite bullish. Obviously, not financial advice. I do have to say that. But I personally bought one at 0.3 Ethereum, which is pretty much where they're at now, because I do think just the hype that's going to come from the Super Bowl ad is going to add value to their whole ecosystem. It is not going to add the $6 million. You can watch. I went on a rant last week. I'm not going on that. I still think it's absolutely stupid. The video is called Digi Daigaku wasting $6 million on a Super Bowl advert. And that's how I feel. 100%. Maybe they're wasting 5, like I said last week, because they might get $1 million back in just recognition and value and whatever. So I still maintain that. However, with them spending $6 million and getting $1 million value, that's going to definitely increase the floor price to some degree. So I have bought a villain with the intention of selling it closer to the time. When is that Super Bowl thing? That's soon, bro. Is that Sunday?
4 days. No, not 4 days. 2 days.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. It's my birthday. It's my Sunday. Hey. Sunday's my birthday.
Let's fucking
Sunday's
go.
My birthday, good.
So, someone buy Philip a Bitcoin node so he can mint a CryptoPunk on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Please, I would really appreciate that. But I'll buy the node. Someone just come and help me do it, because
someone give Philip a reliable connection. Actually, that's what he really needs.
Very funny. Everyone who joined us, thank you. A Crypto Dream is still awake. He stayed up, which is incredible. Thank you. Everybody is here. JT, so good to see everyone else who watched, either who's not here anymore or who's still here. Thank you. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. we will see you next week, same time, same place, for another amazing show. Love you all, guys. Cheers.